So a little quickie. So you're on the Adele. Wow, you're in the Scardor guild. That's great.
Hell yeah.
So we have to be ready for a GPQ in a bit.
Yeah.
All right. So the no boom and the 1+1 thing today. What were you wondering about that specifically?
All right. So I have limited funds,
Mm-hmm.
and that is my concern, right? My question is, do I keep making drop gear, or do I just kind of start doing the no boom room right now? That because I have 1.2 mil or
Bill.
bill, sorry.
Yeah. Okay. 1 mil would be.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Um. Okay. I see. And let's see what you're working on right now.
I will have my APSO weapon in 2 weeks.
Okay.
And I get a new APSO gear piece next week.
Okay. Strings. And the Adele.
Yeah, the black bean mark is sitting in my inventory.
Yeah. Kind of depending on what kind of potential you get on the other one. Well,
Yeah.
the eye is meso. Yeah. So you use this one for strength. Are you doing the Sweetwater stuff?
Yeah, I've been doing commercy and I'm level 5 I think on the middle tier boat, so I'm still far away, but I got like 600 commercy Dineros.
Mm-hmm. I see. You saving those boost node slots for anything specific?
So I have a couple of questions with the V matrix,
Mm-hmm.
and the main one is, okay, so I found my first trio, right? And I have 2 nodes for that. And I don't know if I should try to find the second try node, or if I should just keep making the ones that I currently have and boost that up to the limit.
Well, we talked about this yesterday as well during the session, because
Hmm.
you want to have every skill boosted 2 times, right?
Right,
Because you
yeah.
can go up to level 60. And Adele doesn't have that much variation in their boost nodes, so it's probably best to use your shards to craft actual boost nodes, because the chance that you will be able to use that boost node is very high, which means that your return on your shards is very high. And if you get
Okay,
like
so
unlucky, quote unquote, the unluckiest you can get is you get a boost node that you don't need, and then you get 10 shards back. And the luckiest you can get is you could get like a special node and just gain, or you can get a actual skill node that you are gonna want to use, and then you get like 140 worth, right?
oh wait, so you're telling me that I should just remake the node stones and then open them?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
That's
That'll get
I
you the
hadn't.
best efficiency, yeah.
I see. Okay, that's good to know.
And then,
Because
yeah, you're looking
I
for
don't know if
something
you
that
can
has
see at the
cleave in there.
bottom of the V matrix, but I have like 4 pages of just
Yeah.
shit that I've been trying to make,
Mm-hmm.
and they're all like Magic Dispatch or Ether Forge or the second trio or trio.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not bad necessarily because sorry, Adele uses all of them everywhere anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So if you get something that starts with dispatch, but you add like a cleave and a, um, do you have? Is that bloom twine? What is the top one?
You can see at the I think it's at the bottom there, next picture,
Oh yeah,
what
yeah.
I have. Yeah.
It's cleave.
So it's Hunting Decree. Okay.
Oh, this is cleave. Oh, it looks really close, like the hunting decree. The top
Yeah.
hunting decree and the top cleave look very similar.
Oh
Okay.
yeah, they look almost the same. Yeah. You can see that.
Um. Oh yeah, okay. So these are the copies. Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so the next one would be, what is it, like dispatch, ether, conduit, and bloom, right?
Yeah, so I've been looking for the one that has magical dispatch, Aether Forge, and either Aether. Shit, it's a third Ether
Yeah,
thing.
bloom, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
bloom.
boom.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, no luck. I've made
Yep.
like probably like 60 of them and nothing.
Mm-hmm. That's fine. Wait, so you don't have do you have it on your glove? No. So do you, if you get a decent sharp eyes, that'd probably be something useful, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then yeah, I don't know. It's not,
Is combat orders any useful, or should I just destroy it?
I think it does. Yeah, it does something. It does something. You know, it's definitely lower in priority than your extra boost nodes. But it is good baseline. Basically, if you look at your passives, you can always check if it's good or not by just equipping it and using it one time. And then you can look at your fourth job tab and then look at your passives and see the percentage going up and see what it does. If you have a lot of passives that boost all your skills, like most of the new classes do, or passives that give anything like final damage or critical damage or IED boss damage, any of those. Basically, you're just adding all of those little things up together. And increasing the base damage as well by percentage points of your attacks is also nice, because that then feeds again back into the final damage buff that the boost nodes give. So that empowers that as well. So typically for all the later classes, it is worth it, yeah. Probably somewhere in the next 3 or 4 nodes. Weapon aura is usually one that's only worth a little bit later. So like I think the ideal setup for you right now would be like to, instead of the like on the last line where you have weapon aura and 2 blank spaces, would be like decent sharp eyes and your last 2 boost nodes in there.
Okay,
Would probably be the setup that you will want right now. And then you probably have decent combat orders and then weapon aura and then maybe the goddess blessing for the burst, that kind of stuff come in them.
Yeah, for sure. Because I'm 2 levels away from unlocking a new one, and like I literally get like 25% by just coin capping, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully with live, with the extra EXP we get for capping symbols every day, that should be even more static EXP that you're getting.
Oh yeah. Because right now I do play a whole lot, but like I can't really play for long periods of time. Because I have I've been having a bit of trouble with my eyes, so they get really, really tired really quickly, so I can't play for a long time.
I see.
But I still do. Like, it's not like it keeps me from playing the damn game.
I still like half sleeping, like, I guess I'll do this.
Yeah. I still play for sure.
Yeah. Well, some of this content you don't even need to be looking, so that's fine.
Yeah, and with Adele, you know, jump left, attack, jump right, attack. It's just not.
Yeah,
that
you
hard.
can. Yeah, you can get a lot of stuff done just from muscle memory.
For sure.
Okay, but does that clear up the matrix a bit more?
Yeah. The main question was, do I keep just dumping points into making new nodes? But now I can make just the actual stone and then open it.
Yeah, the value per will be better. And then once you find your 2 tries, you smush everything together on those last 2, extract everything you don't need, craft some more nodes, open those, and then just rinse and repeat. Yeah,
sounds good. That's great to know. Thank you.
And for bossing burst, the goddess blessing will be pretty big. But yeah, you'll need some more levels in there before it gets really.
Oh yeah, I just kind of locked every blue node that I got just because, you know. But
in case they were good.
Good to know. Yeah, that's useful.
Yeah, you can lock the decent combat orders one as well. Yeah, that one will become worth later.
Okay, so yeah, that's it for the V matrix.
Okay, item drop, meso drop, and the 15 IED already. Nice.
Oh yeah, question about this. Do meso drop and item drop, are they essentially the same for bags or what?
No, so meso drop means the chance for a bag to drop. And item drop is a chance for an item to drop. When it comes to familiars, those 2 are distinctly separate. When it comes to everything else, those are combined into, like, if you see item drop, that includes meso drop as well. But for familiars, they're distinct.
Wait, hang on. So like, if I have, for example, that Neo familiar, which is only, it says item drop, it doesn't affect the meso bags?
It doesn't affect meso bags, correct. It affects all the other items, yeah. If you have item drop on anything else, like on an equip or on a coupon or something, that affects both, yeah.
Okay, that's great to know. Yeah.
So in the
That's
beginning, if you're
basically.
not super high on the combined item drop from other sources, you might need both
Mhm.
of them to supplement to get to 100% chance for a bag. But once you get
Right.
enough drop rate from the other sources, the meso drop rate from familiars will become a little bit obsolete, basically.
Okay, that's great to know. That's
Hmm.
basically the only question I have about
Okay.
familiars. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess you're looking for another 15% IED to supplement a little bit more for bossing.
Not gonna lie, I only just realized that I had that. Like, I've had it, but I just noticed it.
Okay, yeah. If you were feeling like 100 of them and you're like, sometimes you
Y-
forget to check it.
Yeah, yep. So I've been looking for IED, right? IED sources because
Mm-hmm.
I'm at like what 70% or something. But
Mm-hmm.
right now that is because of the goo heart, which is at level like 23, so it's giving me like 17% or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's good to know that I have this 15% because
It's very
I'd be
valuable.
at like 50 something percent.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah.
It's usually Legion and Links where a lot of it starts coming from, right? You get the Luminous, the Explorer mages,
Hmm.
once those start
Yeah.
leveling. And then the
I,
Legion board itself starts giving quite a bit.
yeah, that's what I've been trying to do, but like it's kind of so I've been playing really a lot for the
Mm-hmm.
past like almost 2 months, and I only started having this problem with my eye like 2 weeks ago. So
Mm.
like for a while I went really hard at like everything, like Legion and like drop meso gear, everything. So now I'm kind of like dialing it back a little bit. So my Legion is kind of suffering because of that.
I see, yeah. Yeah, usually the
But
thing you like the least suffers the most first, right?
yeah, but I did level all of the heroes, which are like I realized that the heroes have the best link skills.
They're, yeah, they're pretty good across the board, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I realized that because I had five extra characters other than my Adele, and they were all heroes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, wait, wow,
You're like,
okay,
what are
I
the
guess
best links? And you're like, okay. These
just
are
go
all
with
the heroes.
heroes. Yep.
Yeah.
So that's what I have, and so another thing about Legion is that I like working at it, but the way I wanted to do it now that might change now that I can't really play for like 2 hours at a time. Is that I liked to go ham on one character, so get it to
Mm-hmm.
120 and then move on right
Mm-hmm.
from that character.
Sure.
But so that doesn't sound very ideal now, but like that's what the way I wanted to do it.
Sure.
So I make a character, get it to level 120, and then move on from that character, which just usually takes 1 day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about that?
If that works for you, then that's fine. I think, and if there's a day where you don't feel like making a character, if you just log into the 120s you have and like kill Zakum and then log out, then you'll
Mhm.
slowly get them to 140. That's where you want to have them, because once the grid expands to the measure where you can add more characters, you don't want to have to add level 120 characters in there. You want to have to put 140 in there, right? And from 120 to 140 is relatively little effort, but it's an
Mhm.
extra grid space. Um, it goes from 2 to 3, right? So that's 50% more coverage, which is pretty
Mhm.
significant at that level, and it'll definitely help you get those early IED and crit damage and boss damage in as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, so otherwise I would say it's fine, but just like supplemented with, if you don't feel like doing one but you still want to do a little bit of Legion progress, you just log it to like 3 or 4 characters, do a Zakum run and log out. That'll probably be like an easy 4 or 5 levels, and every day it's a little bit lower, but just make sure you don't don't kill the body before you kill the arms, right?
Yeah.
So in the last
Yeah.
session, yeah.
Yeah. The thing about being new to reboot is that I don't really have the damage to kill it before he has
Okay,
the chance
okay.
to spawn, so that's great.
That's great, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
some classes, especially with the standard gears that you actually get from just mobbing, are, yeah, those are pretty bad. So those lower the risk of over damaging. Yeah, let's see the silver lining there.
Yeah, for sure.
But anything else with the Legion board or with the order of characters that'll make sense?
So the way I was going at it is just looking at your Legion command,
Mm-hmm.
and then I went down the list, and then I got to mechanic, and then I was like, maybe I don't want to do mechanic, but I did do it. I think it's the fourth one there.
Yeah.
It was actually not that bad, but I've been using the little heart skill that you get from the Night Troop,
Right.
the
Right. Yeah.
the double EXP, which
Mhm.
makes it absolutely like a walk in the park, because I got to 123 like just like in 3 minutes. The buff lasts past 120. I got to 123. That's how I did that.
Mm-hmm.
So the main question now that I have is, do I mean, I know that you're gonna say that it's fine to like skip a character or two, right? But like, if I don't mind it, I should follow the general like 1 through like 40 or whatever in your Legion command, or what do you think?
Yeah, that's set up to generally allow you to snowball the hardest. Like that's like every character that you level at that point is going to give you the maximum benefit for the next one, and then for the next one, and for the next one. So that once you get to the characters that are generally a bit harder to do, but also the ones that help your entire account not as much, and it's just a supplement for the levels for the Legion, at that point those characters will go very fast. And it just sucks that a few of the characters that most people don't like very much are also very useful, so you kind of have to do those early on.
Yeah, the way the with the link skills, I absolutely hate Evan. Why are they so weak? I hate Mercedes. Why are they so weak? So I really don't want to get them to 210. But if it comes to shove later on, like let's say I'm pushing for 8K, right? That means I need
that's
them
what would
all
happen.
at
Yeah.
200. Then yeah, I kind of have to do it. But like,
Yeah. You'll get them to
I really
140,
don't wanna.
you'll get some Terra burns to 200, and then you'll be at 6K at that point. And then if you want to decide to push from 6 to 8, then you just start back from the top of the list, and then you push through the harder ones. And then once you have those done, everything else will get easier. What you could do is also start with the ones, since you have the foundation, start with the ones to get to level 200 first or something. The ones that don't have to go to 210, like the ones that give critical damage and critical rate and like the flat percentage damage, especially in Lynx and Legion. And then those will make your other characters stronger to get those from 140 to 210. Or you just do it on a Terra burn, right? Because at that point, I mean, if you have all the classes or you have at least 40, the value of a Terra burn for your account goes down significantly. It'll just be down to the value either for a bossing mule or to get a character from 140 all the way up to 210 through the Terra burning, so that you can have the level 3 link for your whole account if you're going for 8K. Those will be the two main values of a Terra burn at that point. And some people feel like it's a waste, it's already 140. But I mean, if you're leveling from 140 to 210, that's 70 levels. If you're leveling from level 10 to 210, that's like what is it, 190, so it's like maybe 83 levels or something. Like it's barely more, right? So
yeah, I definitely do feel that way with the Terra, like the Burninator, because I wanted to burn, so I was thinking of burning either Shade, the three classes, what are they that give critical damage?
Shade, Jet, and Hayato.
Yeah, so I'm talking about Vera right now. Like, I know it doesn't really matter, but like I had the Shade at like 99, and I was like, shit, do I burn that, or do I make a new character that will give me the percent crit damage, and then get that one to 140, because that's 140 levels instead of like 30 or 41, right?
Yeah.
I was thinking the same with in Reboot, that I have these characters, and I rather, for example, Mercedes, that I would rather not play at all. What if I just burn it to 140, right? If I have the chance. But in Reboot, it's so easy to get extra character spaces that I feel like they'll just rather just make a new one, right?
Just rather make a new one, yeah. You just need to fill up your board with like there's 27 more characters that you can get levels. If those are all level 100, that's 2.7k, and you're at 4.5.
Yeah, for sure. So that's why I asked you about the way I like to go out it. Maybe not the ideal, but I enjoy it. I enjoy doing it that way.
I mean, I would do up to 100 and then just do daily Zakums. If you do up to 120, I mean, that's basically like going up to 100, killing Zakum, and then just maybe doing Monster Park and training a little bit more, right? It's not that much different, I think.
Oh, now that I have learned that you can do 7 days with Meso, that's, that's so much fucking easier. Holy.
Yeah, especially at those levels, it's like every run is a level at that point.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe it's
it really
2 days
is.
of Monster Park and you'll be at 120,
Oh yeah, the reason why I got these specific ones to 120 was to get the level 2 link skill. That was it. Because it's pretty dreadful to go past 100.
especially with the gear that you get up to that
Yeah,
point. Yeah, it's not
and
great.
since my account is so weak still, like it takes me a bit to go through the levels. But
Mm-hmm.
like with Phantom, it was actually kind of fun with the Pathfinder skills.
Mm-hmm.
And then at fourth job, I stole the ice lightning chain thingy,
Mm-hmm.
and I had fun with that. So it
Yeah,
was
whatever
tweak, but it was
whatever gets
fun.
you through it.
Yeah, so yeah, basically that was it. And the Mercedes was a pain.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
Yeah. But yeah, so that as long as that clears everything up for Legion, then we can move to the next one.
Yeah, we're good to go.
Okay. Because I mean, Link skills kind of follows from Legion, right? It's very strongly connected. You pick whatever you need.
Mm-hmm.
Follows kind of like the same progress for stuff like hyperstats and that kind of thing. So crit rate wise, I see you're at 86. Is this also with the book at Kapu thing?
Yeah, so that's extra, what, 15%?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah,
Because I see your crit rate in the hyperstats is a little bit on the lower end.
Oh, and that was because last night I put those 4 points in. Like literally,
Mm-hmm.
when I was taking this screenshot, I was like, oh, my crit rate is at 0, and I think it needs more.
Yep.
So what I can do is just reset and redo it. I'm doing the calculator. What is it called? Suckard or something?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. What a name.
Yeah, it needs a
So I
rebrand.
did
Yeah.
that, and that's how I followed that. And then I realized that I had nothing on crit rate.
Mm-hmm.
But so my question there is, where do I get more from? Because I already have the Phantom,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess it really comes from Legion.
Well, the
Right?
Legion board helps a lot. So
Yeah.
the list I have here, right, for critical rate,
Mm-hmm.
it's like you have the hyperstats, link skills, Legion grid, Legion members, decent sharp eyes. So that's going to be an important one.
Oh yeah.
Some people get from the inner ability, but again, like for all of these, there's like a command link to it, right? That like where you can check and you can optimize. Some people get it from a soul buff. Some boost nodes give, but this is more like for completion's sake. Sometimes you get a little bit from familiars, and then there's event buffs where you have the 15 right now. You have base 5%. Yeah. Some people get it on potential, and then some people have passives on their character. Adele is one of those characters that has like a decent amount of crit rate, but seems to be missing significant amounts at certain intervals. But once you get far enough into the game, it's pretty easy to get to 100. You definitely don't need like the inner ability and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's still the Archer link as well and the Beast Tamer link, but you probably don't have a Beast Tamer, right?
I do not, and I'll make one when they should come around in live, right?
Yeah. So at this point, like Archer link and decent sharp eyes, and like boom, you're over 100. And then you'll be at like 106, right? So then when Bucket Kapu leaves, you'll be like slightly over 90, right? You'll be at like 91. And then those last percentages probably need to come from crit rate. So at this point, like your critical damage is very low, so critical damage comparatively makes your damage go up a lot. But if you're not hitting crits all the time, then it's not as reliable. But for now, you can get to the 100% crit with those two things. So maybe making the archers a little bit higher priority, right, to get that crit rate up.
Yeah, I do have one archer already.
Yeah, you got the marksman, right?
Yeah, because that was one of the reasons why, because I wanted to get more crit. But if I'm not mistaken, they like if I make all the what are they called? The adventurer, the explorer.
Explorer archers. Yeah.
They all stack together, right?
Yeah, you can get level 2 from each, and then if there are 3 different ones, you can link them all into the same character, link it to one slot, and then it'll go up to 10%.
Gotcha. Okay.
And the other one that might also be useful is getting a Night Lord for your Legion. That also gives you crit rate buff.
I was gonna make one, and then I remember how bad they are at mobbing early on, and then I just kind of didn't. But I will like I've been saying, every time I make a new character, I'm like, okay, what do I need from this character? Because I'm not gonna main it or anything.
Yeah.
Except for the battle mage that I have Terra burn right now, which I really enjoy battle mages. It's just, you know, that's not the point of this progression session, but I do want to have a secondary main because Adele's, they're great. I love them, but they're kind of boring.
Yeah.
And battle mages are I like them. I know
Mhm.
they're not great at bossing, especially solo, but they're okay. They're fine. They do
Mhm.
the job, and they provide the auras, which is fantastic.
Yep.
So in
And a
the end,
shield.
yeah, the shield is great too. So like, I really like him. Like I said, I love the Adeles and everything, but like, holy fuck,
Yeah,
they're
so
boring.
when it comes to the value, right, that you mentioned, so like
Mhm.
a Night Lord giving 4% crit rate, that might not feel like a lot of value, but if
Mhm.
in your hyperstats you need to go to like 10 hyperstats to be able to get the last 4%, but
Mhm.
you could get it from a Night Lord as well. The last 4% is 2 levels in hyperstats, which is the one that costs you 35 and 30, so that's 65 hyperstat points. If you get to put those
Right. Yep.
65 into something else instead, that's worth way more than 4% crit rate, right? That might be like, I don't know, like 15% boss damage or something. So
Yep.
that's kind of that then becomes the equivalent of the Night Lord at that point, because it all comes down to the comparative advantage of where do you get to throw your things around, right? Like where do you get to throw your points around.
Mhm.
At this point, I would say though, like the strength and the dex that you have in is probably less valuable than the crit rate. But
Yeah.
again, you can probably with the archer and with the decent chop eyes get to 100%. But then when
Mhm.
the bucket kapoo buff goes away, you'll need to supplement that crit somehow, and that'll probably come from your hyperstats or maybe a little bit from your legion board if that board has grown by that time. If you hit like if you hit wait, I was gonna say if you hit 2K, but you're already at 2K, right? Oh no, you're
Now at
almost at 2K. Yeah,
1800.
yeah,
Yeah.
real close. Yeah.
Okay, so now that, sorry, again with the Legion, I do have a couple more questions about that.
Okay, sure.
Uh, so when the grid expands,
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's like a million memes about Tetris and whatnot. Where, like for me, what would the most important thing as soon as the grid expands? What do I go into?
Yeah, so the priority is very similar to the priority in your hyperstats. You basically
Mm-hmm.
want to make sure you get 100% critical rate, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you want to divide that evenly between your Legion grid and between your hyperstats. Don't go too high on one and low on the other one. Usually you want to kind
Okay.
of even that out. And then once you have that, you want to make sure you go as much into critical damage as possible, especially because your character looks like it has pretty low critical damage by itself, right? Didn't know
Mm-hmm.
it was this low. So that's have you done the passive storyline on this character?
Wait, there's a passive?
Because I feel like your critical damage should be higher.
Um, the wait, I have magic conversion exclusive spell.
That's just well, that's a
Oh yeah, and the yeah, recalling greatness. Yeah, yeah, I have it at level 10.
didn't know critical damage was that low.
Yeah, the recalling greatness is at the beginner tab, and it gives me
Yeah,
10% only. Yeah,
10% for both, right?
10% for yeah, sorry, damage and sorry, attack power and critical damage.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, because I thought with that you should get critical damage higher. What is mine's critical damage at? Mine's at 55, but I get the 3 guys get 15, so it goes down to 40. Wait, hang on. I got 10 from this, so it goes down to 45. And then I have the 3 5% dudes. So it goes down to 30. And then my Legion grid gives 20, yeah, and then 10 from base. Wow, that's really okay. I didn't realize it was that low for Adele.
Yeah.
With rank 12, Adele caps at 77. Oh, that is pretty low. That's like the one thing holding them back then, I guess. But I mean, they still destroy, so
Yeah,
regardless, yeah.
holding them back. Okay.
Well, like my arc gets a little bit over 100% when everything is going, and archers can get like close to 200 or even over 200% with their vicious shot. So comparative, even with all the sources on my Adele, I'm only being at 55 is kind of, yeah, that's a lot lower than I expected it to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Yeah. I now that I'm looking at my beginner passives, so I have this the Emperor's Blessing, I know it's kind of not very important, but how do you get it to level 30?
Yeah, so that's from a Cygnus Knight. You have to get a Cygnus Knight all the way up to 150, and then just go to a Rev and talk to 9 Hard. There's like a quest for every 5 levels past the regular one. I think it's like at level 125 and 130, 135, 140, 145, like that.
Okay.
And you just talk to 9 Hard, and you'll just get the last levels.
Okay. Yeah, because it says it will only apply until 120, and doesn't really tell me anything else, so I was a little confused.
Yeah, the one of them is one goes up to that, and then the other one the Cygnus one can go just past it, right? But you have to have up to 150.
Okay, thanks. I know questions coming up, kind of like on topic, kind of off topic.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Yeah, so the crit damage and the crit rate, crit damage, and then if you need IED, then you want to go into IED, of course. That's typically only starts getting valuable if you're at least at 3k Legion, because just filling one of these strips is pretty bad. That just gives you 6%, and because IED is multiplicative, one line of 6% is pretty shit. If you can get 6% crit rate instead, that'd be way more important, because that's an additive number, right? Just like critical damage and boss damage, that'll just be 6% each. For IED, you want to have at least two lines and get to like 13%, because then it's almost as good as a 15% IED familiar, basically.
Yeah, I was watching. I was watching another progression session that you did to see what my pictures needed to look like, and I happened to have paused on a specific time where you told someone that if they rolled their 75% IED away, they would lose like 6% at 95 or something like that. So can you like quickly explain that to me, because it didn't make any sense to me. Like, why is it that rolling away from 75% will only make you lose 6 in theory?
So the higher you are, because it's multiplicative, right? So the line of what percentage it is the percentage it gives you to how much you're still missing to reaching 100. So if you're at 90% and you add a 40% line, you'll gain 4%, because you're still missing 10%. You get 40% of that 10%, so you go from 90 to 94. And then the 30% comes in, and they're all calculated individually. So then the 30% will come in at the 94. You're still missing 6%. So 30% of 6% is 1.8, so you go to 95.8. So if you're at 95.8 and you drop 70%, one line of 40, one line of 30, you'll go down to 90 only.
Okay, that is fantastically explained. How do you keep all this information in your brain?
This is that's an important one to know, because, and that's an important one also to know how to explain, because it's not very intuitive. Because people think like, I have 70%, and it should show 70% in my, right? It's a big difference between additive and multiplicative. That's why it's important to know that, because and there was like a way in familiars where they actually confused additive and multiplicative as well. Like if people got enough familiars that additively all the lines of the familiars added up to 100%, they added them together and gave a line of 100%, and then people could just roll out of all the other IED, because it would all become useless, and they would have 100% at all times. And that was broken as hell, so they needed to fix that.
I see. Okay. Well, now I know. It's good to know.
Yeah, and that's why those small percentages don't really do much, because they're all calculated individually. Like if you have 0% and you add 6%, it adds 6%. But it doesn't represent 6%, because if you're at 95% and you add 6%, then you get 6% of 5%, which is like, what is it, 0.03%? So so then it's not moving the needle at all. So then those small sources, but unless you're very, very high, right, and you're against a boss that has 300% PDR, then your IED basically gets triple the value. And if adding final damage to anything becomes very, very expensive, because all your gear is like 22 stars and has 3 lines of stat, at that point, if the only thing you can add is 6% IED, even if you're already at like 97, that will still comparatively probably improve your final damage by more than any of the other stuff could, provided the investment cost. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it definitely does.
Yeah. So it's a little bit like, in the beginning it's really good, then it like falls off, and then later it can come back. That's why things like getting the Monster Parker badge is a good thing to start working on, because when you get to the point where, you know, you want to, again, like the opportunity cost of the IED, you want to have it be as low as possible because it will help you. But if it goes at the expense of a lot of damage, then it probably isn't worth it. But like on a metal, like what are you gonna get on there? You're gonna get like 6 more stat or something. If you can get 10% ID versus 6 stat, there's gonna be a stage of the game where that's worse. But the further you go, it gets just way better. Because even if it gives you like 0.1% final damage, you have to get a lot of stat at a certain point to get 0.1% final damage. It has to be quite a lot. So, yeah.
And at endgame, that's huge, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, comparatively, right? Not huge as in, it's still a small fraction, but you're fighting a super strong boss and you're doing trillions of damage. So even like 0.1% damage of trillions is still like a whole chunk, so.
For sure, yeah. Okay. That is a good way to see it.
Yeah, and that's why for IED I also have that command, right, where you can see all of the IED sources. And there's also a video where I explain it, and then on like where well, the IED that you want to have and how you can calculate what your functional IED is versus your visual IED, because that's also an important one. Because you can't really go by your stat window, because your stat window just looks at, regardless of the attack you're using and regardless of who you're hitting, this is the IED that I'm sending you, that I'm sending the attacks with. That's good to know, but what's more important to know is when you hit the monster, what is the IED applied at that point, right? That's the number that you want to calculate. For example, like my DA or something, if I have 85 visual IED, then I'm good, because my functional will be around like 96. Because I have a 30% IED debuff, I have a 30% IED debuff on the attack itself, and I have a 20% boost node, and then I have like the Explorer mages, like all of those things, and then maybe like a hyperstat skill, like all of those things apply on hit, but they're not shown in the stat window.
Right.
So that's important to know your kit and to, you know, to really read and see everything. Like you have Grave Proclamation, you have the Resonance Rush stacks, right? All of that gives some extra IED as well. And then once you get the Explorer Mages in there, you get your boost nodes leveled up to level 40. That IED is the effective functional IED is going to go up, even if you don't pump any IED into your WSE or into your Legion and your Lynx even.
Right, even if the number itself doesn't change, there's still a change there.
Yeah, if the number in your stat window doesn't change, it doesn't mean that the number on hit might not change, yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, and then regarding of which boss you hit, right? Do you hit a boss and you have a teammate that's like a 0 and reduces the IED by 50%? Then your IED that you're missing goes up by 50%, right? If you're like 96, you go from 96 to 98 effective. Or if you're fighting a boss with lower PDR, then your IED will have... It will ignore the same percentage of the armor, but it will leave less armor the lower the PDR of the boss is, so you'll do more of your final damage. So it'll be more effective but less efficient, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I got that. Right now that we're in my stat window with the upcoming reboot passive change.
Yes.
How is that gonna change the numbers there?
So, well, the hyperstats we probably need to, well, maybe not in the short term, but like in the long term, especially for the bossing. I'm always really allergic to like the big differences. So like having damage on 11 and boss damage at 0. This is fine if you're just absolutely not bossing, but if you want to do bossing, then that's pretty inefficient. Especially if you have strength in 7, because strength is like nice, but doesn't get multiplied by your percentages, so it doesn't scale very well. But like boss damage,
The problem with my hyperstats is that I'm following the calculator, card calculator. Like religiously, which I know I shouldn't do. So
well, yeah, I've heard this before. I don't know if the calculator is maybe a little bit unintuitive, but I've heard it. I've seen like interesting hyperstat builds from people, and a lot of the time they said that they were using that same calculator. I'm sure the calculator is correct, but maybe the use of it is not very intuitive and makes people come to bad conclusions. Because I think from the last 2 or 3 times we talked about it as well during these sessions, I think a lot of the time it just assumes your crit to be 100, which is a bold assumption because it's supposed to include that into the calculation that you need your hyperstats to get to 100, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, At least that's how I saw it. But I still need to check it out myself. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yeah, I think the main reason why it has on damage but not boss damage is because it makes you choose whether you're gonna mob or boss.
Right. Yeah.
So it doesn't. It's not like it lets you do a hybrid build or anything.
Yeah. So I think it's mostly a tool if you want to min max once you're like 245 or up, because until that point you kind of build like a hybrid. You just you get enough crit to get to 100%, and then you roughly equalize between critical damage, ignore defense damage, and boss damage as long as your arcane power is high enough. If your arcane power is still low, you might pump that one a little bit higher. And then some classes have a few exceptions where maybe you put a little bit in HP percentage if you're a DA, or you put a little bit in DFT FPP mana if you're a Kana or Demon Slayer or something if you need that, or as a Kinesis. But generally, is like enough crit to hit 100 and then just divide it over the other 4. But once you get to 240, 245, and you really want to go really hard on training and really hard on bossing, because you know your rates for training become more and more important, and the bosses just become more difficult, and you need to min max for those more, then it's good to have like those 2 separate setups. So it might be just that it's a little too early to use that tool. That might be a thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense, because I showed...
Once we get presets though, then you might be able to use it earlier, right? Because then you have your one preset, your other one, you just click and boom, switch. Like that'll make it so much easier.
Yeah, when I was doing the hyperstats, following that calculator, I was like, I already knew that the what are they called? The presets were coming.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I can't. When I was putting points into it, I was like, I can't wait until this thing comes.
You have one at a time. Every time you switch functionality.
That is so dreadful. And you were doing it the other day and said the exact same thing when you were doing it point by point.
Yeah, I'm going to 14 on 2 of these, so it's like, oh god, help.
Yeah. So the presets, they're coming on live too, I believe, right?
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah, they seem to be restructuring when it came to all of the bossing stuff. Like the class balancing and everything, right? They released all of that stuff quite a bit later and then clustered it all together. So I'm hoping that they're not gonna do that for this stuff, and that they're just gonna just throw it all out there immediately.
Yeah, because they did the live itself in KMS was like over 2 months or something. Like it was like in stages, right?
They do they usually do 3 or 4 updates on big events in KMS, and in GMS they tend to cluster those into, I think, 2 events max always. I don't think they ever do more than 2 during a winter or summer event.
Yeah, because with Neo they released they did like in 2 weeks you'll be able to buy this from this shop or whatever.
Yeah. They'll have those staggered shops, so you have to wait. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty about being a little bit behind, is that you can kind of review how all of that rolls out and decide if you want to do it the same or maybe combine it a little bit, cluster it. I think that makes the updates bigger, but if you have a longer time to prepare, then hopefully the rollout is better. But obviously that doesn't always happen, as we have seen in the past. But.
Yeah. Okay, so right now we're still in my stat page. Should I? There's an event coming for Honor. I think it's for half price or something.
Yeah, next weekend. Yeah.
Right. So I landed at item drop rate, and I was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna keep it this way." Should I just try to roll it or wait until that event?
Yeah, 9% item drop rate compared to like what you could be getting and what the honor experience you have. It's 50% off rolling. Yeah, you probably want to. Well, like the money you make next week probably want to go towards circulators, but it's not super expensive. So yeah, I'll probably wait until next Sunday and then use just honor experience to roll to unique, then circulators to get to legendary. And then if you have circulators left, you can keep rolling those to see if you get a nice unique line on 2nd or 3rd. So you'd be looking at something like 15% meso obtain, 15% item drop rate, like 10% cooldown skip, 10% boss, like any of those lines would be cool. And if you get that, you can lock that line in and then roll for something cool on the top line, which would be either meso or drop or cooldown skip or boss, like basically all of those. If you had like a big chunk of crit, you could also keep that temporarily. Just don't roll your honor experience like all the way down to 0 or anything. Like if you get something that's like remotely useful, that's cool. As long as you have, and if you don't get anything like with leftover circulators for a good second or third line, you just keep rolling until you see like a nice top line. Just hold on to that. Anything like 18% meso or 18% drop, like some big clunker like that, it'll be relatively cheap, relatively low on resources, and it'll be pretty efficient for your overall progress.
Okay, that is good to know. Because right now, if you roll it, it doesn't drop anymore.
Doesn't drop anymore. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Because
But if you lock a line, then it also can't go up, right?
Right. Right. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So So I think the hyperstat can be like fixed at this point. If you're gonna be bossing, you're gonna be losing out on a bit of the boss damage there. Do you do a lot of mobbing and bossing, or is it like predominantly mobbing right now? Like what kind of content do you do?
So as soon as I joined Reboot, which was 2 months ago, my first goal was to clear CRA by myself. So my first choice was pick an OP class. I've never had an OP class. I'm a battle mage main, so I struggle a bit with that. But I can clear CRA by myself in Vera. So when I moved here, that was my first goal. Was like as soon as you clear CRA, like comfortably, that you're good to go, right? Because from there, it's pretty easy to just kind of scale.
Yeah.
And so
there's small steps in between the bosses, so the next one is always like pretty within reach for quite a while. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I do want to boss. Because I really like bossing because it's one of the more
challenging or
one of the the more like the better part of the game, like the more rewarding. Rewarding part of MapleStory that to me at least is bossing and getting through a boss. So
and noticing your progress and the feedback you get from the content.
I think I told you a couple of days ago that I noticed that I was doing progress because I didn't have to use my burst on the
the Maple Tour with bosses.
Maple Tour bosses. So that feels good. I really like that. So I do like. Right now, I've tried to clear Bonvon because he is the one that I understand the most. Because with my battle mage, I got strong really quickly, so I didn't get to go through the stages of me training the boss fight and like understanding the mechanics and everything. I just kind of went from I can't kill it to killing it in like 2 minutes, and not even 2, like less, like maybe like 40 seconds or something. So I don't know the mechanics still, right? So even with my low ID and my low boss damage, because it's a 130 right now because of the nitro buffs.
Right. Oh yeah.
Because I put 1 point into the 30%.
Yeah, it's worth, right? It's good value.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, even though I'm at low like stats, I can kill Von. I just need a couple more mechanics to get them down because I can't see the damn chicken jump up. It's so hard for me because
even with maximal transparency, right? It's hard to see.
Yeah, because I did the transparency and then I did the blade effects and everything, and like I still can't see it because he elects to jump when I'm using my like big ass blade that comes from the air.
Ruin,
So even at maximum transparency, I still can't see the chicken.
Yeah. There's a sound cue if you play with sound on. There's a sound cue when he jumps.
Yeah.
That is like a I don't know. It's like or something. It sounds like that. That's when you know he goes up into the air, and then you can jump. If you have your the other thing you could do is if you plop Ruin, you could also just pop Ether Guard, and then if he does jump, you should be able to survive it, right?
Oh yeah. Because there's also
until you can see him again, and then you can jump around.
Yeah, for sure. Because there's a skill that I didn't know did what it does, which is the what is it called?
Impale?
No, it's
Plummet?
Feather Float.
Feather Float, yeah.
Yeah, the little dash bag and that puts you in the air for a second. I didn't know that existed. I just.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because you level so fast, you don't even need all your skills, right?
Exactly. And
Yeah.
when I used it, when I put the point in it and I tried it, I'm like, okay, this is useless, right? Why
Yeah.
do I want to go backwards when I'm jumping forward? What is
Yeah.
the point? And so I didn't realize that. And when the chicken started to kill me every time he jumped, I'm like, okay, what can I do? Because I know that I have the little floaty thing that keeps me in the air for a couple of seconds,
Mm-hmm.
but I still can't see it when it jumps. So now I've been using that, and I got the chicken down to like 1/3 of his HP.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm getting there,
Mm-hmm.
and I can notice that progress, and especially when I found that skill.
Yeah.
And so I get, it's I see my own progress in CRA, and it feels good, but I know that I still need more stats to clear the others.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be a combination of things, right? Like the extra boost nodes and the leveling of the boost nodes is huge. Keep doing your symbol dailies. That's a lot of a stat that comes from that. And then Legion and Links are going to come in for stuff like boss damage and such. You'll get better with the mechanics and practicing, so that'll help a lot. The other thing is that you just really lack a lot right now is IED. That just is keeping you from doing your full potential of your damage. So when it comes to that, and so you're working on the accessories, and I think going for the accessories is maybe a little bit too early. And then just circle back to using your funds and everything. I think it's probably a good idea to just try to boost everything that you equip or that you might want to equip. Just boost it all to 12 right now, and then see what kind of money you have left.
12 stars, yes?
Yeah, because 12 should be relatively cheap, but because you have so many items to do, it'll still be a decent amount of money if you add all of it up.
Okay, yep.
And then after that, it's probably going to be the most important to take your... well, yeah, you said you're like 2 weeks away from your weapon, so that's probably why you don't want to go too hard on your weapon, right? It's already epic. I get that part, but it's then probably to go a little bit harder on the secondary. Secondary might look good in the current situation, but even if you, because it has 12% strength, but even if you would replace the 12% strength and 6% attack with just a 9% attack, I'm pretty sure it'd be roughly the same or even a little bit better. Because 9 attack, just attack percentage is so much better at this stage. So I would work on getting them to legendary and maybe getting 2 useful lines. So either like a line of attack and a line of boss, or a line of attack and a line of IED. I wouldn't get a line of boss and a line of IED, even though that would be 2 useful lines, because then you lose all damage to mobbing. And that would be probably a little bit too much. So a line of attack and then one of the other 2 useful lines. And maybe even settle for 2 lines of IED. Maybe even if you get your emblem to legendary as well. But I would definitely do secondary first, right? Because the emblem already has 15%, so that one has more to lose. But if you get to the point, if you get the weapon, or you're about to get the weapon before you're thinking of getting the emblem to legendary, then definitely do the weapon first, right? And don't mess up the 15% attack if you don't have to.
Okay, yeah, because for me, so I played regular server for like 12 years, right? And so I moved to Reboot, and even though cubes are readily available and money is easy to make, but because I didn't really have to work hard to get mesobacks every kill, because I do get them now.
Yeah.
And so for me, I'm still in this mentality where I'm at unique 15% stat, and I'm like, okay, that's good, because that's what my battle mage has, right? And so I can't, my friend keeps kind of yelling. He doesn't yell at me, but he's like, yeah, dude, you have to move on, because you can't just be stuck at unique line because it has 2-line stat and you like the way it looks or something, because he keeps telling me that. And I'm like,
for some
yeah,
items
but
it's fine, but if you want to get like the utility, like for your earrings or something, that's perfectly fine, I would say. But you want to get to the set of drop and meso. Like, yeah, you lucked out like insanely with the treasure hunter John, for example, right?
Yeah.
Like, obviously, if you could get that, you would sign for that. But obviously, that's not clear.
Yeah,
but
because the counter ring has like % HP and MP on the other lines.
yeah. If you could trade those, you would do that. Well, so the thing is that it's fine, honestly, to stay on unique with stuff that doesn't give you utility. So like I would say WSE is like the stuff where you want to push legendary first, and then the accessories right under that for the item and the drop. For everything else, I would stay on epic or unique for sure, and work on the star forcing first, and probably all the way until all of it is on 17 stars, and then only start working on increasing the potential. You could make an exception maybe for gloves, right? Because you can get critical damage there on legendary, and that's also really good. But other than that, I think epic or unique with like 1 or 2 line, like 2-line epic or like 1-line unique is fine for quite a while, as long as you are saving for Star Force events, because those are way more common. So you want every time when a Star Force event comes around, you want to be able to capitalize on it. And cubing events are just way more rare, and flame events don't even exist. So I won't say it's necessarily bad to stick to unique lines, but the problem is if you're sticking to unique lines on a lot of pieces and that's holding you back from getting your full utility, then that's gonna kind of work against you. And you have 4 of those items right now, right? So that's because that's gonna force you to then make another piece to get the lines on again, and that's gonna slow you down from getting to the point where you want to go.
Yeah, that's kind of what happened with my Blackbean Mark, because I got one of my face accessory to unique 15%, and I was like, okay, I'm not rolling that, so I started rolling the Blackbean Mark. And then my friend was like, dude, why? No, don't do that. The other one is for damage anyway, so like just keep going with the meso gear.
Well, the Blackbean Mark is an eye accessory as well, right?
Oh yeah, sorry, the eye accessory. So like what would that be, the Zakum drop?
The aquatic letter eye accessory, yeah. So because this one has on meso on it, so you wanted to get the other one for damage, I think.
Yeah, that's what my friend told me. So that makes sense. That made sense to me, but I still like it's legendary now because I rolled it because of what my friend said, and I haven't even equipped that one. So yeah, but I do struggle a bit with that. So now. And
that's the problem. Like the sooner you hit those percentages and you get used to them, the harder it is to roll out of them, because you'll drop in damage. So that's why it's important to know that your damage needs to come from weapon secondary emblem, from your nodes, from your arcane symbols. That's where your damage needs to come from. And then Legion and Links will help you out and all of that. And then as long as you have the set bonuses, like the CRA set bonuses and the Abzo set bonuses, and those equips are like at least epic, and they have Star Force, then you're good. And your accessories, they need to bring you meso obtain and drop rate, so that you can get good rates when you're training, so you can make money, so that when an event comes around, you can go hard and capitalize on that. That's what the accessories are for. And it'll feel bad rolling over 15%, but the main reason that it feels bad is because in non-reboot, you could sell these things for a decent amount, but in reboot, you can't. And if you are moving on, and then you're leaving this behind, you're leaving all of the value that you invested into it behind as well. Whereas if you roll over it and you bring it with you, at least you're keeping the value that you put into the Star Force and into potential, and maybe into flames until that point, you're bringing that value with you. And that's the only thing you can really do in reboot, because the other reason is it's just going to stink up your inventory, and then you get to level 252 on your Demon Avenger and you do weekly bosses and you can't even loot all the equips from the monsters, and you have to go extract 3 times during your bossing session, right?
Yeah.
That's not where you want to be, right? I know someone who did that, all right? And it's not a good decision, I
think I've heard of him,
Yeah, so that is definitely a mindset shift that you have to go over a little bit, It's just one item at a time, just push through it and go for the meso and the drop. But I would work on for Star Force now, just get everything to 12. That'll already be a nice little boost. You probably don't want to like boost too many things to 15, I don't think. Because even just for one item, if you get a bit unlucky, that could easily be like 300-400 mil, and you said you only have 1.2 bill, so if you're gonna do it on anything, maybe do it on the Abzo piece you have, right? Maybe on the glove.
The glove, I was thinking that it's already at 10 anyway, but
So maybe
don't be fooled. That doesn't mean it's close to 15.
Because I did no boom room on my battle mage on my arcane weapon, and it took more time than like money. Like I cared about more my time than the money it took because it was so long. So I do realize that getting to 15 is not really that easy from 10, but like maybe get everything to 12, and then if I do have money left, try to get 15, or do I just leave it at 12?
Depends on how much money you have left, honestly. Because I think it's going to be probably more important to start saving up meso, because there could be a cube sale near the end of the year. and that'll probably be a good opportunity. You'll probably have your secondary already at legendary then with some stuff on it, but it's probably going to be a good opportunity to go hard on your weapon then and get something juicy from your weapon, and then based on what you have at that point on your secondary and your weapon, that'll inform what you want to get on your emblem.
Okay, that is great to know. So my funds right now should go to making 12 star stuff.
Yeah, everything.
And then do I roll both my emblem and secondary?
I'll do the secondary first, yeah, to legendary,
So that's
until you get something nice there.
Okay, those two come first, and then to legendary, and then try to get either, what was it, attack?
Well, so I would do the
attack,
secondary, yeah, and try to go for percent attack, and then add, and then on top of that also either a line of ID or a line of boss, one of the two.
Right.
Line of ID would be more beneficial for you, but if you get attack and boss, I wouldn't necessarily like roll away from that, because when your legion gets bigger, you can just start pumping everything into ID there. They're kind of interchangeable at that point, so you know, just like the last session, like the things that are easier to move those things first, and move the harder things to move last. And things like potential on your equips, that's one of the harder things to move, especially because you have to do it with, you know, you don't want to have to do that with black cubes and everything. That's way too expensive, and it's RNG.
Sorry, what do you mean by move?
By move, I mean like redoing your hyperstats, moving your blocks in your legion board, right? That's how you can move stats around, yeah. Or equipping different familiars, right? If you get to that point, that's how you can move stats. Moving stats on your potential is like the hardest one to move around. I'm going to talk about moving. It's basically because it's one big puzzle, right? You're trying to get to an optimal distribution of all the existing stats. And, you know, you can move the puzzle pieces around. But some puzzle pieces are, like, glued in. And that's basically, like, your potential and your WSE. That one, once you hit something good, that's pretty much glued in. Why? Because it's more expensive to replace. While moving away around your hyperstats, that's 10 million. You know, that's the cost of moving that. So, or when you get the hyperstats, and I think it's, like, 5 or whatever. So, yeah.
Okay, that is good to know. Because it's kind of... Like I said before, it's kind of hard for me, but I do have to move from that mentality because I'm kind of stuck there.
Yeah, because those things also I think in non-reboot are a lot of times they're enough because you have way more other ways of upgrading, so you don't need to push as hard in the same positions, right? And that's why when people ask me, do you do progression sessions for non-reboot as well? No, because I don't know the balance there. I don't know the access, I don't know the prices, I don't know, you know, the fluctuation, how much money you're willing to spend, what the RNG is with the cubes and with real money. Like there's just so many additional factors. Because if your cubing is really good, or your scrolling is really good, you can get by with, you want to like stay low on the potentials, and you maybe even don't even get anything to legendary. You just keep everything epic or unique, and then you just go hard on Star Force or hard on scrolling, and you can go up to like soloing Lucid or something, right?
Yep.
But yeah, that's way different in Reboot. Yeah, that's a completely different balance.
Yeah, for sure. So I got...
See Todd's badge. Are you getting the Crystal Ventus one for this set?
God, I've been trying. Lord knows I've been trying.
Oh, that's why you want a drop rate, I see.
Yeah, so I've been going to Arc and Magnus with double EXP coupon and did like all the drop rate that I have, which is like 60% or something, and still nothing. And I'm trying. I'm getting there, I guess.
Yeah, because you have 6 set now, right? So that would give you 7. That's also kind of nice. That's like, what is that, 10% IED as well, I think?
Sorry, what?
I think the 7 set boss accessory, that'll also give you 10% IED.
Oh. Let me check that right now real quick. And yes, it will, actually, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, that is a good point.
Yeah. And the other one is like the superior set. If you get to complete that, that'll be another 30. So that's also going to be a huge one that helps you out.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I would say so. I'd say like Star Forcing, then the secondary, and then I would say getting your accessories sets completed. So like one at a time, getting the uniques up, going for the 4 lines of drop, 5 lines of meso. Hopefully they all end up with a line of strength, but if they don't, then that's fine for now.
Yep.
And then it's probably time to go hard on your weapon, right? And then maybe like your glove, maybe, or like the Abzo stuff a little bit, but maybe the glove, and then probably the emblem would be like after that, I would say.
I've been using the flame calculator. What is it?
Yeah, the cost one or the score one?
The score.
Mm-hmm.
And everything seems fine, but I am not really sure on whether to keep the one I have on the weapon or not. Because it has like
Oh,
6%.
yeah. So depending on how long you keep an item, that would also determine how well you do. Right? Yeah, having 40 strength and 10 attack and 6 damage, it's a decent attack base weapon. That one's really hard to. It's hard to say. It's hard to compare. Yeah. Flat attack seems like the no-brain thing to go for, but you do have like everything else that gives you damage besides from it. And if you're not going to keep it for too long anyway, I don't know how hard you would want to push on the flame. For an Abzo, it wouldn't be enough. Like, you definitely want to prioritize getting high attack power. But it's really difficult to say like 16% damage equals this much flame score, because the total chunk of how much damage and boss damage you have determines the individual value of damage. And that's very different per class. Plus, when the reboot passive changes, that's going to get completely thrown around as well. So it's really hard to say, like, this is how good that is. Honestly, for a Fafnir, because they also have pretty low bases, right? So even a high tier flame doesn't necessarily give you a huge number of attack, because it's a percentage of your base. I think it's probably fine to keep this. Because with all the other stuff we talked about and all the other stuff, if you move all of that around, you should still be able to do fine on the damage front. And then you can just go hard once you get the Absolute weapon, and that's probably the only item where I would push really hard when it comes to flames. And by really hard, I mean getting into tier 6 with something else on it. Yeah, I say really hard, but that's probably like less than 2 bill in flames that you're going to spend on that. And when it comes to like potentials, that's going to be more. So, yeah, hard comparative to the other pieces. Yeah.
Okay. Also, can I transfer hammer this to the Abso?
Yeah, you probably want to do that once it hits 16, right? Because you'll lose 1 star, and you don't want to go down to 14, because then you have that whole shit show to go through again. Yeah, but it'll keep epic. It'll keep the same lines. It'll keep your flames of your Abzo. So let's say that you get your Abzo weapon first, and there's a 5, 10, 15 coming soon. You could just hold on to this for now, and you can already start flaming on the Abzo. And then you can get the Fafnir to 16, transfer it, get the Abzo again to 16. Abzo will keep its own flames, because that doesn't transfer over. And then get the Abzo to 17 to safeguard it to 17. And then wait until you have enough money and then start working on the potential, something like that.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah. Yeah, and then once you're done with the emblem, then it's probably time, like a 30% off event to start getting a lot of stuff to 15. But then you have to be safeguarding, so that's when you want to be saving up a lot of money. And then once everything is 15, then you're waiting for a 5, 10, 15 to get everything to 17. And then after that, that's the time to really start pushing things to legendary, like Abzo, CR80 unique probably. And then, once everything's 17, that's when you start getting like doubles for everything for the accessories, and you make like a specific bossing set and a specific mobbing set, and then you start thinking about transposing things like Dominator pendants into Sweetwater stuff, and then by that time you have more Dineros, so you have those things that you can actually do, right? So it's not only like when is it most efficient, but also when is it realistic to have the resources and to have the backups, because you need, for some things are just time gated, so you need a little bit more time to get to that, with like Commercy, with superior coins, stuff like that, with backups, extra kind of treasure rings, stuff like that. And then you'll have enough CRA backups, so you don't need to safeguard that anymore, stuff, because you've been clearing it for months at that point.
Yeah.
And that'll save you, then you get value back out of those drops that are initially kind of without value, but if you have a bunch of them, that means you don't have to safeguard, so they give you value in that way, because you have the security. Yeah.
Shit. I had another question, but
Sure. Just go over the equips, and probably be based on one of them.
Yep. Hang on. Oh, yeah.
Maybe the shoulders, or...
So I'm like 150 coins away from getting the... Either the ring or...
Yeah.
Or what is the other thing? The
pendant?
Oh, yeah. So which one should I get first?
Well, you only have 3 rings, right? Because the other one is the Platinum Cross ring. That one cannot get potential, so I would go for the ring here.
Fucking ring, man.
Yeah. Like, comparatively, that's where the biggest gains are, so I would go for that one.
Yeah. Okay, I shouldn't... Yeah.
Yeah.
I have another question about the Dineros. I know that the upgrade cost, like, what is it, 500? How much is it?
For the boat?
The Dreadnought, yeah.
Yeah, the first one is 200, I think, and then the Dreadnought is 500, if I remember correctly. Yeah.
Okay, so when I have that,
Mm-hmm.
when I have the Dreadnought and I can get enough Dinero for, what do I do with them?
So after you've bought the upgrade for the Dreadnought?
Yeah, let's say I have 300 Dineros, or I have enough to buy one piece and I already have the Dreadnought. What do I do with them? Like, what is my game plan with Commercy and everything?
Yeah, so if there's an event, then you just buy them at that point and Star Force them during the event. Or if there's a DMT or a cubing event, then you can do that as well. If there's no event, you can basically just sit on your Dineros and just hold. Basically, what I talked about, like the point where you get everything to 17 and where you make the specific sets, that's when they start coming in. Because once they get to 17, and for your bossing set, you're going to be going Sweetwater and Superior. And for drop rate, you're mainly going to be Boss Accessory. Because the Boss Accessory set just isn't going to cut it. They have lower Star Force, and the higher Star Force on the level 150 and 160 gear, that's just going to make those pieces way better, and that's going to overcome the loss of the set. Plus, you need that Superior Boss set, Superior Golic set to hit, right? The 30 Boss and 30 IED is just so good.
Yep.
So, basically, at that point, you just, you're going to specifically probably be rolling them for drop rate and mesotane. Now, you can also forego the monocle because you already have the Black Beam mark, and it is unique, and you're probably getting it to 12 now, right? So probably by that time, you'll have like a 17-star Black Beam mark, and you can get that one legendary for the damage. So you don't have to buy the monocles. That way you'll have more backups. So that could mean that you don't necessarily have to safeguard on the tattoo, or it means that you can... if you get a Dominator pendant and you can get to transpose there, that you can more quickly go for the transposed pendant, and then your pendants would be like a Superior and a transposed Sweetwater together.
Okay, so the Sweetwater stuff in general is for bossing? Is that what you're telling me?
Eventually, yeah. If you get like really strong, then you can also start using it for drop. In the beginning, if people get it early, whatever is for mobbing and whatever is for bossing is basically determined by whatever potential you end up rolling on it. You know, if you roll it and it rolls like a line of drop and one line of damage, in the beginning it can be both. And then if you roll on the other one and it rolls 2 lines of damage, well, then the one becomes drop and the other one becomes damage. If the other one rolls like 2 lines of drop, well, that becomes drop now, and then you can re-roll the other one with only 1 line, and then that one can be rolled for damage again. So that's the beauty of having 2 pieces at the same stat, is that you can just use which one for whatever function it's best suited for.
Okay. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Yep. And then, you know, everything with the back of your mind is always like, how can you retain the most value out of this piece, right? Because you can't sell it. If transfer hammering is not an option, you push harder if you're going to keep an item for a long time, and if the expected value of increase of damage or utility for your account is high. If it isn't, then you put it on lower priority, and if you can maintain value, then you push up until most of the value can be maintained, and then you shift priority to another piece, basically. But yeah, where that priority is, it's still a little bit of feeling and touch and go, right, because of the difference of the servers, but that'll become more and more clear as you go.
Yeah.
But the general order, like, right, of like where to spend your money and what the next steps are, that makes sense?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I got that. And that was basically my biggest question through all of this. But yeah, I got it now. Yeah,
events will dictate. They can shift the balance a little bit. If there's a huge cube sale and you are sitting on money and you're waiting for a Star Force event, but there's no Star Force event in sight because they're not in the Sunny Sundays, well, then you go harder on the cubing first, and then you just save up. And if there's an event right after it and you just spend all your money, well, if you know that both events are going, then you might have to shift the balance a little bit, right? People are projecting that there might be a 5, 10, 15 and a cube sale close together. If that happens, then it's just going to, at that point, it doesn't really matter. Just do what you want to do, basically, right? Like, whatever is on the list. If you're like, I'm going to do Star Forcing first, and it goes really poorly, and you get mad at Star Forcing, then just do cubing instead, you know, something like that. Or if the cubing goes poorly, and yeah, you're only working on one item, then that's a lower priority. For cubing, for example, because if you have to Star Force like 12 items, then that's a higher priority, and then you focus on that one, basically.
That sounds all good.
All right. Well, let's. Are you ready to go do Guild PQ?
Yep, I am ready.
All right. Well, then I wish you good luck, and well, you'll be around. So any other follow-up questions and You can I'll upload it to YouTube, so you can always look at it back there, and then you can if there's anything you forgot or you need a recap on anything, and the commands are always at your disposal, of course. So so good luck.
Yep.
And I'll see you around.
All right. Thank you. See
All
ya.
right. Bye. Okay, good session. We had to do a little bit speed run through everything because we did have the guild PQ and didn't want to be late. So, as always, catch me live on Twitch. I'm there every day. If you have direct questions, important questions, good luck on the star forcing today. If you're going to be using the 1+1 and the no boom room combination, make sure to get your stuff to 15, especially the pieces that can get past 15, and especially the pieces that you would safeguard otherwise. For him, not enough money here. So I wouldn't push to 15 on stuff here, because even at the best situation, you're pushing like 2 or 3 items at the most. That's not enough gains to forego potential other gains in other regions. So I would just push everything to 12 and just hold off for 30% off to push things from 12 to 15. You will have to safeguard their own pieces, and it'll be more expensive, but I think that'll make more sense for the progress of his account in this situation. So yeah, always look at your own situation, look at the projected costs, and you can use all the commands in my channel. In my Twitch channel, you have access to about 200 commands with information about the game. So make sure you check in. If you want one of these sessions for yourself as well, check the link in the description. And if you want to join my guild in NA Reboot, or you have data that helps me populate these commands and keep them up to date, there's also a link to submit data that helps me. Things like battle analyses, things like monster kill per hour. You can do that with the Veteran Hunter title very quickly. That keeps track for you. That's all very, very valuable information for me. Even training videos, if you have those of higher level areas, just to see how certain classes train at higher levels, because I have no experience with that. So the more input I get from you guys, the better. Anything like that, I'd be very happy to see it. Other than that, thank you for watching. Hopefully this one was a little bit shorter, so you still have like 30 minutes on your totem. So good luck on the last 30 minutes, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.